Hey y'all. Hello, my divine ladies. Welcome to my channel. if this is if this is if this is your first time, this is your host, Smile Divine. Welcome. And on my channel, I like to discuss things. For those who are new here, it's I like to discuss things from a conservative view, and I feel that the best way for a woman to be in her feminine energy is when she starts treating herself like the prize, and she values herself, and she also raises her standards. And not only just like, with herself, but with just everything around her, right? And on my channel, like, I talk about self-love, I talk about hypergamy. I talk about conservative views, and just anything that can empower a woman, because that is my goal of my channel. So welcome. Hey girl. Hey y'all. Hello, my ladies. How y'all doing? Oh my goodness. I just love this. I love this topic because it really has me thinking out here, like the potential that each and every woman has. Hey baby queen, how you doing, boo? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we always have that potential to get what we want, when, especially when you put your energy out there, like, yo, I can get whatever I want. You just got to that point where you no longer settle for less. And as a woman, like I said this before, we are born wealthy. So what's the point for a woman, and especially when she knows how to use her pretty privilege, what's the point of her dating average when she can date a boss? Like, what? Am I saying something that doesn't make any sense? Like, come on now. I know women experience the difference when she dates somebody who got to clock in versus dating somebody who does the hiring, the firing. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference, and I just feel like once women start paying attention to her needs and knowing, like, hey, being a woman is a very expensive thing to do and be, and she starts understanding that she should have high standards, she finds herself with a more peaceful life. Okay? Hey, Riga woman. She finds herself in a more peaceful life. Because, dating a man that does the hiring, the firing, dating a man that holds the cars, that there's always a seat for him in the room, even when he's not even there. He has a presence. There's something about that, and I just feel like women have that potential to always date up. Like, she always has that ability. It's naturally in us to be hypergamy or hypergamous. It's naturally in us. So I just feel like she has that opportunity to understand that she's going to need inquire more, because as a woman, especially when you're in your feminine energy, you need more things in a simplest way, meaning security, okay, which is marriage, a roof over your head, and maybe not even just a roof over your head, but like a house that is gated. You know what I'm saying? Like, gated, at least. No one can just have access to you. No one can just knock on your door and just like, hey, what's up? Like, no, you can't do that. You got to go through people if you want to get a hold of me. That type of standard of living will make a woman's life easier, because she realizes, you know what? I don't need to work for this. He does. He already has. He already has. He didn't need my help to get this. When you're dating a boss, they don't need your help. Ever. Financially, they don't need your help. Okay? You say you have a friend who tried to say I should give guys with less a chance. Definitely not doing that. I told her she could, but I'm not because I know I'm worthy of more. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell women like, you know, these type of men is a certain type of level of confidence that they have to have in order to even be a boss. They have to be able to, uh, have some form of emotional intelligence because that's always, comes in effect. Hey girl, how you doing, boo? That's always something that is absolutely important. And you know what? Not every woman wants to date a boss. And hey, you know what? If that's what that's what her desire is, that's what it is. Because there's some women who want the lifestyle of a boss, but then the emotions of an average man. You know what I'm saying? They want the lifestyle of a boss, meaning everything like a luxurious home, luxurious car in an upstanding neighborhood. But then she got the emotions of, dealing with an average man who has the time to comfort her emotional needs versus a boss. If they're older for them to make money, they have to travel, they have to be out, they have to be always like, you don't want him sitting at home with you, taking up your space, even sharing the same bedroom as this man because they're always working. And that's what that they have to be. And most time when boss, they work smarter instead of harder because that's why they're the boss. They already know, like I had to start somewhere, but they know they don't want to stay the same way. They're always elevating. They always say, I have to make money to provide for my family. They naturally have that incorporated in their mind. They naturally have that. It's like they know I have to have this in order to, provide. But then the women that they end up usually getting are women who want that. Oh, I just want him to stay home. I just want him to be here and see the children grow. I just want him to do that. I just she's so focused on this man and instead of just focusing on herself. So it's like when you understand, like, okay, a boss, he got to be out, he got to fly, he got to, this man has to be out. And of course, a woman would be like, oh my God, I want to spend time with him, da, 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 da. And it's just like, all she really needs to understand is focusing on herself. That way she can have a beautiful relationship. Because the more a woman tries to chase or try to grab something, the more she loses it. And when she just starts focusing on herself, she just puts herself, be like, you know what? He comes when he comes because I'm still getting, allowances. I'm still getting money. I'm still like living in a nice house. I got a driver's. Like, what is there to complain about? When a woman has average, a mindset where she feels like she needs emotionally his comfort, his support, these are the type of women that end up cheating or end up trying to always, you know, always searching for love outside of themselves. They're always searching. They're never satisfied because they're always searching for love. They don't know how to get to that point where I got to focus on me. I got to just put me first. All these Disney channels that has women thinking, these fairy tales has women thinking like, oh, this is what it is. He said it's biological for women to go for the best men, not looking at lower class and hope he comes through because he gives her some money. You date at the level of your self-esteem. Ooh, baby queen, let me put this. Yes, period. Even animals know that they have to procreate with the strongest one. They always have to procreate with the alpha. They got to procreate with the one that she knows is going to protect her. She knows this. She has to procreate with that because she's like, yo, this is what's going to protect me. This is what's going to give me security. When I have babies, I might have to worry about another animal, coming to attack. I don't have to worry about that. So even animals know this. That's why I'm just like, you know what I mean? Exactly. You need a boss type man. You cannot deal with a man who always home and in your face, too draining. It's extremely draining. But women who have emotional issues with themselves, women who lack the self-love, they want a man to be around them 24/7. The thought of him sleeping in his own room is like, what do you mean? Oh no, we need to sleep together. We need to shower together. That is my best friend. We need to do everything together. Everything. She wants to be attached at the hip. Literally attached at the hip. And it's like, that's not even healthy to be attached to the hip to a man. That is not healthy. You're literally dying. That's why they say married men live longer than married women. Because married women emotionally put too much on that man than herself. They don't even want to, they just don't know how to be like, oh, I need to think about me. I need to think about my well-being. I need to think about what's best for me. They don't think about self-care. Exactly. They don't think about none of those things. Thank you, baby queen. Melania Trump. You think that's what she wanted the whole time, was to marry a man so financially stable that she will be good for the rest of her life. That's what it is. She's not thinking about emotions. She's thinking about herself, period. As she should. Whether she can't stand this man or not, that doesn't matter to her. She's still being taken care of, with or without this man being around. Because at the end of the day, Trump's a boss, okay? But it doesn't matter what people say. Trump is a boss. And he's a provider. Shoot. That's why Melania Trump still looks good. Because she's not focusing on this man. She's focusing on herself and how she's secure for life. She is secured for life. This man was a boss before a presidency and still one after. That's just what it is. And it just makes sense. The man doesn't have to be a millionaire. He just needs to be a boss. You know what I'm saying? He just needs to be a boss. He can't get fired. You know what I'm saying? He does the firing, hiring. He does that. Oh, my goodness. And when a woman gets, emotionally secure with herself, when she gets emotionally secure, she doesn't have to, be on this man or around him all the time. She doesn't need to call him. She doesn't pick up the phone and call him. And if this man feels like she's calling, it's because there's an absolute emergency, because she never calls him. She doesn't remember she's even married. That's literally how you have to move. You have to move like that. Because whether this man does something or not, you're always going to be thinking, at the end of the day, he didn't make me happy. I was already happy before him, and I'm going to be happy after him. You have to already be happy with yourself, with your own energy. You literally have to move like that. That's the only way you can protect yourself, and actually just knowing like, hey, if I just focus on me, I will never have to worry about anything else, because everything's already being provided for me. Sometimes I will think about the woman. I always think about the woman who is smart enough to marry for security over love. I just can't help but respect a woman like that, because she's doing it the way she's every woman. She's supposed to be doing it. She's marrying smart. She's not marrying based off of emotions, because emotions fade. But the emotions that you have for yourself, that can never fade, because you're always thinking like, yo, this is all about me. This is always about me. You know, I'm always thinking like, this is all about me. Like, what? So I got a little story for y'all. I got a little story for y'all. So I met this girl, right? And story time, ladies, story time. So I met this woman. Honestly, this woman, like, she is absolutely, like, when I say a smart woman, very, very smart. So I decided I wanted to do like some volunteering. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and volunteer at a food bank, because I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like volunteering, right? And it felt like I wanted to get to know more people around the area. And I know, it's a good way. This is before I even thought about, and I wasn't even thinking about freestyling during this time. I literally was just like, I'm like, you know what? I'm not working. I really just always have free time. So let me go ahead and volunteer. So I I met this woman. I want to say she's in her mid 40s. I'm gonna call her Suzanne. Suzanne. This is who I met. So Suzanne, now, as soon as I saw Suzanne, she had just light to her, right? She was always happy. She's like, hey, very petite, older. I think I want to say she's, she looks mixed, but I don't know. I think she has like a Moroccan background or whatever the case is. But anyway, she had a very joyful energy. She had on this like nice little Lululemon outfit. She was cute. She was cute. Everybody was like, "Hey, Susan, how are you, Susan? Oh my God!" People would stop what they were doing when Susan came into the room. So I'm like, "Yo, who is Susan? Who is Susan? I gotta be friends with Susan. I gotta know like what's going on." But I had to find a way without doing it, so it didn't look obvious, right? But she automatically noticed me, because every time I came in to volunteer, I was always looking like my best. I mean, like, just very, just, y'all know how I look. The same way y'all see me in my videos, I was just looking nice, kept, well dressed, my hair, everything. So I walk in, I'm just seeing, just smiling with everybody, because it's the energy, right? And then someone's like, "Oh, I just love the way you do your makeup. It's so pretty, blah blah blah." Then that's when Susan comes around. She's like, "I noticed it too. It's absolutely gorgeous." I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that." She's like, "You need to do my makeup one day." I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Don't worry, girl. I'll pay you." I was like, "Oh, well, once you talk about money now, I could come." So I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I would love for you to do my makeup." So I was like, "Okay, you know what? Well, you could she's like, "Let me take your number down." I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So I gave her my number, you know, and I was like, "Yeah, you can go ahead and call me." She's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get in contact with you." So I thought to myself, I'm like, "Damn, man, I don't think I'm ever going to hear," because I wanted to get her number so I could call her. But she's like, "I'll take your number." Because she's like, because she asked me, "Do you have a car?" I'm like, "No, I don't really do it like that. I don't really do makeup like that. I just really do it for myself. Maybe a couple of friends here and there, but I don't really do it like that." She's like, "Oh, so do you have a car?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, "No, but I can give you my number." So she's like, "Okay, yeah, let me take your number down." So I was like, "Shoot, I don't even know I'm going to hear from Susan. I don't even know I'm going to hear from Susan," because I'm like, man, I'm like, "Shoot, you know what?" I'm like, "Okay." So days go by. I'm thinking like that. I am not going to hear from Susan, because she's too busy living life. And I want to say A week, comes by, and this is a day where I wasn't there, right? So she messages me and she's like, no, I'm sorry, she doesn't message me. She calls me. She's like, hey girl, how are you doing? And I'm like, hey Ashar, how you doing, boo? And I'm like, she's like, hey, how are you? Or how's your day? Da da da. I didn't see you at the food bank. Blah blah blah. I was like, oh no, I don't go on these days. Blah blah blah. We just start talking. She's like, well, I was really serious about you coming over to do my makeup, and I just really want. She's like, there's a function happening, and I want to know if you'd be interested. And um, they're talking. It's like basically like a charity, gala, whatever. And I was just like, oh, like sure. I said, when would you like me to come? She's like, well, I definitely want to see how you do my makeup before this night, before this day. So why don't you come over on this day? So I was like, okay. She's like, send me your address and I'll send you a driver. So I was like, shoot, no problemo. Okay. And you know what? So I was like, you know what? No problem. I'll go ahead and give her like my address. At the time where I was living, I'm like, whatever. But it is what it is. It's at least it's a condo and it's nice. And so whatever. So anyways, I'm talking to my girls about this, and they're just like, oh, she's like, just be easy, just be cool. Because, I honestly thought Susan, like, though she had a very, like, I didn't know who she was, but she had this energy. She had this energy about her that just, I don't know what it was, but it was something just about this woman. So I said, okay, fine. I said, fine, let me just go ahead and just be myself. Just that's it. I have nothing to lose. Just be myself. Right. So I was like, that day comes, I'm dressed. I'm just thinking, regular, whatever. A driver comes, right? And I'm thinking like she's sending me an Uber, right? That's what I thought. I thought she was sending me an Uber. Like, so I honestly thought this woman was, I want to say average, but I just thought she was just like maybe an upper higher class woman who got married, whatever. Anyways, y'all, when she sends this car, right? First of all, the man opens the car door. That's when I thought to myself, this isn't an Uber driver, because Uber drivers don't open your car door. So this man is opening my car door. I'm just like, this is the first. So then I said to him, I said, well, you're the first Uber driver who's ever opened my car door. And he's like, oh, I'm not Uber. I was like, oh, okay. That's whatever. So I get in this car, and y'all, the drive was just, I'm just like, man, this woman kind of lives far. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like she lives far. And I'm like, what part of town is this? He's like, oh, this is like, this is a good, 45 minutes away, 50 minutes away. And I'm like, yo, where does this woman live? And y'all, when they pull up in this driveway, when I tell y'all, I could not believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes, y'all. When I tell you, this house was absolutely gorgeous. When I tell you, this house was gorgeous. The manicured lawns, the way it looked, the house was just immaculate. It was huge. I've never seen anything like this. So I was like, what in the world? Like, I kind of knew the moment the car started driving up, it looked like we were going up on a hill. And I just could not believe this. And I said to myself, I'm like, what? I'm like, there's no way this is this woman's house. There's no way. It can't be. Like, I just never seen this in real life. Ever. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't have that, like, when it comes to etiquette, the only thing I know is good manners. That's the only thing I know. Good manners, being polite, That's it. Like, that's just whatever. So I'm like, all right. So the driver opens my car door. I walk up. There's a woman who greets me at the door. She's like, here, let me take your jacket. Let me take your shoes. And then just the floors was just, when I say the floors were beautiful, like the floors were just absolutely out of this world. Like this just, I just never see, it just looked like marble, like everywhere, just marble. The way that the stairs just curved up, like everything, like just marble. And then you go into like a separate room, and then the way the wood on the floor, it was like a certain type of wood that like you see on the library. It just looked crazy. She's like, come. She's like, how are you? And I'm thinking to myself, there was other people there, right? So I guess you just, oh, when I tell you, I was just like, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, damn, I felt a little bit out of place. I was like, whoa. I just couldn't help myself. I'm like, this is a very beautiful house. She's like, oh, thank you. She's like, thank you so much. So she starts introducing me to her friend. She's like, oh, this is so and so. This is, and then the way she introduced me, all by first and last name. This is so and so do. This is so and so that. This is so and so. I'm like, hi, um, I'm like, oh, they're just looking at me. They're just, how are you? Oh, you're so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, oh, thank you, da, da, da. She's like, yeah, I met her at this so-and-so food bank. And, and she was doing this. And I just said to her, so I really want her to do my makeup for the blah, blah, blah that's coming up. So they're like, oh, wow. Is that what you do? You do makeup, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't do it like that. I just do it on myself and other people around me. It's not a real thing. She's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. They just start talking among themselves. She's like, come. I'm just like, this house is gorgeous. She's like, yeah. She's like, thanks to my husband. Gotta love him. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, who is her husband? I don't see no pictures up. Like usually when you go into a house, you see like pictures of like a married, the woman and the man. Usually you see that, right? But there was no pictures. All you seen was just like art everywhere. Portraits, different things. I didn't even know what is what. I was like, what is like, I said, this just can't just happen like this. I said, whoever she's married to is making very good money because this woman is a housewife. She doesn't work. I said, what is this? I said, damn, what is this? So I'm like, okay. So she's like, yeah. She doesn't even talk about the man. She just said, oh, yeah, thanks to my husband. Boom. That was it. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And I'm just thinking, wow, I just never seen this before. And she's very, very well mannered, very well, like just like, oh, would you like? And she always asks me, she's like, here's some food here. There's already food set up, fruits, the cheese and whatever meat. And it's not just like everything just set up already. You seeing people just walking around. I'm just like, yeah, my children are not here. My daughter, she's in Bali right now. And da-da-da. So I'm like, wow, this is like crazy. So then we sit down. She's like, oh, what kind of tea do you like? Opens up this pantry. I see every single tea, coffee, cappuccino mix, whatever. I'm just like, I just green tea. That's fine. She's like, okay, no problem. She's like, we got this green tea, this one, and we got this. And oh my God, so this one I got from Thailand. And this one, I'm just like, she's just going off. Just a very vibrant energy this woman has. Like, she's literally just like, take here. Blah, blah, blah. Like, she was offering so much. I was like, what is going on? What is this? And I even felt some type of ways about the little makeup brushes that I did bring. But I was like, Lord, like, I hope she just says I have my own set and everything. I'm pretty sure she would. So we're just still talking, and she's asking, where I'm from, and this and that, just like, asking my background, and just little these things like she wanted to know my first and last name and all of this just my business, y'all. I'm just like, what is going on? I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I get why. And she's like, so I have a room. By the way, this house had 9 bedrooms. 9 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms. Okay, I'm just giving y'all an idea. Okay, I mean, I just couldn't believe what the hell. This was like, I feel like this was like a just, it was just unbelievable, unbelievable. But nine bedrooms. So I'm saying to myself, I'm like, because see, in Canada, a lot of the houses have basements, so the basement can be completely furnished. It was just like unbelievable. Oh my god. Anyway, so she's like, let's go into another room. So she shows me this room, and this room, I guess this was her like vanity room. It was nice. It was just like just a nice, just the walls, everything was immaculate, just clean, just clean, 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 clean. Unbelievable. I thought to myself, I'm like, this is like amazing. Everything about this experience is just, I just bead in the presence. I felt like my heart was like, oh, my heart was just going. Just I just felt so excited. She's like, yeah, I just want, I said, I brought my makeup brushes, but she's like, oh no, 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 no. She's like, I have everything. I should have told you that before you came, or you didn't have to bring anything. I was like, oh, I'm like, yeah, these are some of my palettes. When I tell y'all, there was makeup things names I never even knew who these people were. Only thing I know is like this, the MAC, and just whatever, just regular names that you see from Sephora. But there's names that are on here. It was like, I didn't even know what makeup it was. I'm like, I'm like, damn, man, this woman's really like testing me right now. I just knew like the basic. I didn't know a lot. I just knew the basic. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, you know what? This is what I got to do. This is what I just got to figure it out. She's like, yeah. She's like, this is my room. And the room was just gray, light, white colors. Just like this, just a beautiful room. A beautiful room, beautiful room. I'm still trying to figure out like what her background. It was like I was almost afraid to ask her anything about herself. But this was, when I tell y'all, one of the, like, I want to use the most exhilarating story this woman shared with me. This most exhilarating story. So she shows me all her products, what she likes, and since that. By the way, this woman didn't look a day older 30. She was 47 years old, and she didn't look a day over 30. She looked extremely young. I was like, yo, what is this woman's secret? I said, what is her secret now? She looks this young. What is her secret? So she's like, yeah, she undoes her little ponytail, and her hair is long. Not so long that it's like down to her tailbone, but in the middle of her back. And she sits there, she's like, you know what? It's like, she's like, I don't naturally do this. I said, what? She's like, bring people I don't know into my home. I don't naturally do this. I said, oh. I said, well, I feel honored. She's like, but you have a certain type of energy that makes me remember somebody I met a long time ago. And I said, oh. So while she's talking, she's telling me like how, this is the primer she wants me to use. She wants me to use this and this and that, whatever. Y'all, this is the first time I feel nervous. I'm like, I'm nervous. My hands are a little bit shaky. I'm just like, then the woman comes and brings me my tea. And I'm just like, oh my God, like my hands are just, she's like, it's okay. She's like, we can just sit here. I'm like, all right, okay. And I'm just drinking my tea. I'm just there, she brings it with a plate with sugar, honey, all different types of honey and different samples. I'm just like, oh no, I just like it black. She's like, oh, okay. She tells me, she's like, when I was in high school, I met a girl. She looked just like her. I was like, oh, if you were in high school, I wasn't even born. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what? But she's like, you look just like her. And I said, oh. She's like, yeah. And she said something to me that always stuck with me. And I said to myself, I said, well, she was like, she said, you can never lose when you love yourself first. And when I see a woman who takes care of themselves, it shows me they love themselves. They appreciate themselves and they know who they are. And this was a girl that always came to school dressed to impress. She grew up from a very humble, you know, uh, like beginning. She had her father passed away when she was young. She didn't really have any male influence. Her mother was very hardworking, but she was stressed. And so her mother would take out the stress on her. And so going to school was the way she felt like that she could escape. And she said this girl told her, you need to always love yourself more. Like it will reflect that and how you carry yourself. And I was thinking to myself, a lot of the things that I know now, had I known before, a lot of things would have been different in my life. So she's like, that girl told her that. And then she just kept, moving on in her life, whatever the case is. And she said to herself, she's like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work because she saw the way it affected her mother. She doesn't want to work like that. She doesn't want to be stressed like that. So the only way she knows is if she dated a man that made more money than her mother. So that way they both didn't have to work anymore. Because her mother working was putting the stress onto her. And she felt like she needed to do everything to help her mother. She was like, I don't want to do that. Her mother was getting to the point where she's like, hey, you need to start paying bills. You're old enough to pay bills. She's like, in order for her to feel good, she's like, I don't want to work. She's like, how am I going to meet somebody where I don't have to work? So all the time, her friends would always go down to Palm Beach, just sit by, by the beach, just like chilling, whatever the case is, just minding her own business. And one day, she saw this older guy with this younger woman. And you can tell the younger woman was like being spoiled. She was looking at her like, damn, like, how did she do that? Like, she's like, oh, I can never be with an older guy. And her and her friends start talking crap about the girl. And they're like, oh, look at her. Like she's with this old man, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, psh. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with no old. And she's like, then she thought about it. She's like, but look, this girl is like dressed to impress. She didn't even hang out with nobody. She was just by herself. And she was just always dressed to impress. Always had her everything just dressed to impress. So she's like, you know what? What is that girl doing differently that I'm not doing? She's like, okay, she's dating an older guy. So then she tried to figure out who the man was. Like, oh, he's a CEO of so-and-so company, whatever company he was a CEO of. She didn't really care, but she's like, damn, a CEO. She's thinking dollar signs. She's like, if this woman can be with a CEO, but she's like, she just fought with the whole idea of being with an older man. But she's like, you know what? If this is the only one that can help me and help my mother for not having to work anymore, then shoot, I need to date. I need to date them too. I need to date these same men. So that's why she started becoming friends with the same girl. She left her crowd of friends who were hating on her and started becoming friends with the same girl. She just literally just started like, oh, started talking to her. She's like, and how she got the girl's attention was her appearance. She was dressed nice. So the girl was like, she's like, oh, she's like, yeah, do you work? She's like, no. She's like, yeah, you shouldn't work. She's like, oh, she's like, I'm telling you, I'm too lazy to work, blah, blah. She's telling Suzanne this. She's telling Suzanne, I'm too lazy to work. I can't do it. I just not me. She's like, well, what do you do? She's like, oh, I just thought to myself, she's like, she was part of a tennis club. And that's where she met, this older man. So she's like, oh, I don't got money to join a tennis club. She's like, you don't have to join a tennis club. She's like, that's where I met him. She's like, you can meet them anytime, but it's easier. You just have access to guys who just have their own schedule. And the best time to go sometimes is in the morning because that's when they're out. There's a whole group of them. I was like, a group of them? She's like, yeah, they're all bosses. She's like, oh. So she's like, okay, maybe she's like, I can find a way to join this tennis club. She's like, you know what? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. She's like, there's a party at one of these guys' house on this day. You should come. These men, men with money, they love to show off their house and have parties and gatherings there. She's like, what? She's like, a house? Okay. So Suzanne, she went there and she was extremely, she said she felt so awkward because like she came from a place where she didn't have a lot of money, but she had her looks. She had her looks and she had a personality. That was one thing she had. She had her personality. She always just had people around her. Funny, when I got to the house, she had people there. I thought to myself, I'm like, this woman could definitely hire somebody else to do her makeup. Somebody, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. There was no reason. So, but then again, I'm not going to just like denounce myself, whatever. Like, I'm not a professional at doing makeup or anything like that. But, I just have my energy. I have my personality. I have my jokes and my good looks. You know what I mean? So anyways, so she said she went to the party and she remembers just like standing there just awkwardly, not knowing what to do or whatever the case is. And, so she's just like, whatever. And she meets this guy who's probably like 10, maybe 15 years older than her. And he was like asking her questions. He's like, oh, are you the only one feeling awkward? Blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, not really. Whatever. He just starts talking to her and he's feeling awkward too because he's not really a party person. But Suzanne is. She loves going to parties. She loves, she loved doing that. But at that time, she was just I got to be calm. So I know, like, surrounding, she's seen just well-dressed people. She felt awkward because of the way she was dressed. But then at the same time, no one was judging her. No one was like, oh my God, what is she wearing? No one judged her. No one made her feel insignificant because she wasn't wearing like a high $1,000 dress, or she just was just regular. But she had her looks, she had her energy. And it drawn this guy to come start talking to her. And like they just starting up a conversation. She realizes, his father is like, a big, CEO boss, whatever the case is. But she just felt so awkward. They didn't even exchange numbers, nothing. They didn't exchange no numbers. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what? Like, what happened? She said it was years that went by because she was still in high school. Years went by before she randomly ran into the same guy at the party. She was just minding her own business. She said that she was wearing a dress. She was in her 20s. She was wearing a dress, just minding her own business. And she was walking. And then some guy was calling to her, right? And she was like, what? I'm not listening to some guy calling me from the car. So she just kept walking. She was just like, please, I don't talk to men like that. At this point, she said she's feeling good about herself. She said she started dating like, men with money, but it started from that point on that she's like the way that house that she was in was like, and everyone was just living nice. She's like, yo, I don't ever, want to work for this. I want to just already meet a guy who already has this. And she said she was determined from that point on to only date men with money. It didn't even matter. She's like, I have to date a man who make his own schedule, who can do that. And mind you, she didn't date a lot. She just met people here and there, but she even met guys who were just from different religions, all of that. It just didn't matter to her. So years later, she's walking, wearing her dress. She said she had a sundress on. Mind you, it's tropical weather there. Guys yelling at her from a car. She's like, what the hell? Not even listening to him. And she goes into a coffee shop because she always goes into this certain coffee shop to get her little coffee, whatever, her little latte, and then she leaves. So then one day she goes back there and the owner said, hey, because she always likes to make relationship with owners, the boss. That's what she does. She goes to places where the owner is and she wants to converse with them. When she goes to a restaurant, she's like, oh, where's the owner? I just want to thank him on his wonderful meal. Where's the owner? Right? So then she goes in. The guy says, hey, this guy came in and he asked me who you were and your number. And she's like, what? She's like, who? She's like, his name was this and this and that. She's like, mind you, she said at the beginning she didn't remember that name. She's like, I don't know. She's like, don't give him my number. Don't give him anything. Don't tell him anything about me. Next time she goes to the coffee shop, this man was literally determined to meet her, to see her again. And it was the same guy from the party. She couldn't believe it. And at this point, he already had things situated. Now he's older. She's in her 20s. He's older. She's like, oh my God. And at first she said it got to the point where she was not dating men who were good looking. And I think that's why she didn't even want to get this guy's number to begin, because she's like, he was too good looking. And I didn't want to get, my feelings caught up by getting with a guy who's good looking. Now he's looking even better. But she's not showing him that. She's like, no. The man takes her. He wants to take her on his yacht. She's just, all of that. She said there was like greatest time. Long story short, she gets married to this same man. And she realizes one thing. She said, if I was so focused on his looks, so focused on how good looking he was, and on top of that, the man had money, she said, I don't think I would be here today. She's like, I literally have to be selfish in order for me to be where I am today. My husband's barely around. Sometimes I see him, she said 3 times a month. But every time he comes, he gives her gifts, he gives her money, he just lavishes her. Because he always says, he's like, man, sometimes he told her, I don't even think you like me sometimes. Because that's how far she doesn't compliment the guy. She doesn't say, oh, you're sexy, you're fine. She said he is sexy as hell. But she's like, that's why she doesn't have pictures up of him. So her friends don't think like, oh, damn, I could get, hold of him. She literally keeps her marriage and all of that. Like, she doesn't really talk about it. Sometimes she even forgets she's married. And he's like, yo, he's like, I never expected you not to know, not to bother me or anything like that. She's like, why would I bother you? You're working. And on top of that, he was married before her. His first wife built him up. She never even been married. So it's like, if she said it, she goes, if I paid attention, if I was not selfish, if I did not focus on myself, I wouldn't have been here. She's like, I had to. This man already bought her mother a house. He literally retired her mother. He retired her mother. And her mother at first was like, oh, you shouldn't date this guy. He's older than you. He's only older than her by 15 years. That's not a lot. And I'm telling you right now, I didn't even see her husband. I don't know how her husband looks. She got no pictures of him. She never showed him. Honestly, I'm even glad that Susan even felt the need to even want to converse with me. And she said, it was your energy. She's like, you have a light about you. Yeah, she had no pictures of this man on her wall, nothing. You would think this woman was single. No pictures of this man. I have no idea. I've been friends with this woman now for the last almost going on a year, and I don't know how her husband looks. I never even asked. She's extremely generous. She's beautiful. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't drink. She's petite. She's just like all the way around. Like, I'm just like, wow. To be friends with a wealthy man's wife, it's like, that's a gift. It's an amazing thing. And really, she was attracted because of my energy. She was attracted to that. And she looks damn good for her age, y'all. When I tell you, this woman, like, her body is tight. She never even had surgery. She's never even had surgery. The only surgery she did was she got herself a new coochie. After having children, she's like, yeah, I gifted myself with that. She gifted herself with a new coochie. Shoot. But everything else, this woman, like, her skin, her face, she's petite, a petite woman. I'm just like, wow. But she said it. She's like, you literally have to put yourself first. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, one of her husbands out here doing whatever, but it doesn't matter to her. Because she's living in a type of life where she has a driver on deck, security. She has a maid. Like, she's living her absolute life. And the way she glows, the way she smiles, her presence, everything about this woman. And always started because she said from the moment she was 17, she knew, I'm not working. I'm not working. Literally, she's been provided for this whole time. For 30 plus years. She doesn't even look her age. She literally looks like a doll without makeup. Like, she don't even need makeup. She looks like a doll. It's wow. I tell you what. Y'all. It's amazing. It's amazing seeing what a woman's standards can do for her. It's amazing. how her standards can protect her. It's amazing how her standards can tell her, show her that, yo, you can get everything you want in life the moment you raise your standards. She was never afraid of being alone. In fact, she loves her own company. She doesn't share a bedroom with this man. She had a whole separate bedroom. She was, in fact, she's like a clean freak. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, wow. This was a room specifically where like everything just laid out, just beautiful. Oh my God. This chandelier. I never seen a chandelier in a room. Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, wow. That was probably the best thing ever. She's not on social media. She doesn't have any accounts. She doesn't have any accounts. She's always like just living her life. Like I said, she doesn't drink or smoke. She just lives her life. She has an art room where when her I guess whatever her friends, family, or the children come by and her little grandbaby, I was like, what? You can't tell me you're a grandmother. It's the art room. Just a happy woman. And it was always because she doesn't stress. She doesn't stress about money. She doesn't even have to work. Like, money is nothing to her. Nothing. She helps so much people. Money is nothing to her. She is so charitable. Like, it's, oh my God. She's just, wow. Wow. I can't even tell y'all how this woman helped me out. I was like, what? I swear I want to be like, can you adopt me? But nah, we just, but yeah, y'all, it's just an amazing thing just to be around that. But since she was 17, she literally retired. She was like, at 17, y'all. She literally aged gracefully. You said you love seeing women who are being well taken care of by their partner in real life. It's beautiful to see. So refreshing to know we're not alone in this level of hypergamous life at all. There's actually a lot of women who are living their life. But the happier ones, they don't broadcast themselves. They really don't. They literally live underground. She like just that's just what it is. She could care less for pictures. Hey, babe. She could care less. She doesn't even think about it. She doesn't have pictures. She's like, I don't hold on to things that happened in the past. Like, this is what happened. This woman just knows. She's like, oh, I have to think about myself. But at the same time, she is such a generous woman. She literally just set that standard just to be like, you can heal yourself. Everything in life, you will have the opportunity to make it the best that you can absolutely can. You have that. She's like, everything falls on you and what you think about. She said she knew at that moment when she saw that girl being pranced around, she's like, I want that life. I want it. She said she doesn't know, she knows what struggle is because she struggled with her single mother. And she was tired of that. She was like, yo, she was tired of having only being able to eat, you know, one meal a day. She just didn't like that. She's just like, and this woman, she wasn't even dripped in anything designer. She was just wearing just like, just a regular outfit. Of course, when I saw her in the Lululemon, but she would wear the same outfit all the time. She would wear the same outfit all the time. And she's a huge Trump supporter. Huge Trump supporter. Conservative to the core. Oh, anyways, y'all, this was like, oh my God, just it was such a beautiful thing just to be around that. It just felt like an honor. And it all started because I just had to raise my vibration, raise my energy. Just raise it. Just understand, like, hey, everything you want, you can get it. It doesn't matter. There's no time. You're not competing with anybody. I even asked her, I said, what happened to your friends? Like the same girls? Like, did you stop talking to them altogether? She's like, no. She's like, they either came along with the program or not. Yeah. She's very low key. When I tell y'all very low key, very low key. There is nothing, even the way she speaks, she has a very soft voice. Just so nice to, just one time I hear it's like, hey, did you get this done? Did you get this? Did you get that? Oh my God, that house, y'all. Mm. Just beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. She literally made me realize like what it meant to just really, you literally have to put yourself first. You literally do. And it means being selfish enough not to talk to somebody who's not a boss. And then you feel okay. Not to feel desperate, like, oh my God, you know what? Not everyone can date, but yeah, you can. If you choose, you're not thinking about everyone. You're thinking about yourself. That's who matters. It's not about, oh, everyone can date. Well, we're not talking about everyone else. We're talking about you. Focusing on you, focusing like, well, I could, yeah. Someone who's making enough money that they feel comfortable enough that they can make your life easier. Why wouldn't a woman want that? That's why I know when I see women who are like, oh, like those women who like to who promote it and try to, you're not promote it, but like who like to advertise it. And when those women are not happy, they feel like these things is what's making them happy. True wealth, yo, they are undercover. You would be surprised. You wouldn't even think they're wealthy because the way they carry themselves. You would just think like, oh, this person just carries himself well, and not even know like this person is worth how much money. you know, they literally move in silence. This woman can brag. This woman can literally brag like, yo, this. I just thought about all the pictures I could take in this house. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm taking a picture. you know. You said, do I feel worthy to have a life similar to what you saw? Do you feel like you belong? I absolutely believe that. I actually know that. I literally was battling with that in my mindset, like, oh my God. I feel like all these things that I needed to fix for myself, but I'm like, all I needed to do was just be happy, being appreciating what I have. Because that's what it made, that's what she said it started. Her appreciating. The most work this woman does even then, sometimes she doesn't even do it because she's like, sometimes I don't feel like it. Sometimes I do. But it was just, it felt very nice to be in the presence of that. It was just like, wow. And it's okay to be by yourself. She's like usually she's okay. Just doing her little meditation. She has a little yoga and Pilates instructor that comes. I'm just like, wow. And she doesn't just brag. She just literally it was just like, yeah, very simple. Very simple. Exactly. You literally just think positively now. It was beautiful. And she just likes that. To her, that's like a simple life for her. That was just like simple life. 6 bathrooms upstairs, 6 bedrooms upstairs, bedrooms downstairs in the basement. Just like, oh my God, y'all, this house. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Oh, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. She's like literally a gift. And she says that about me all the time. She's like, so are you. She literally seen me go through my phase. She never judged me. She even watches my channel. She never judged me. And at first I was like, oh, she's like, yo, there's a lot of things. She's like, I agree with everything that you say. And she told me, don't focus on on on, on color. Don't focus on that. She's like, I met races of all men who were generous to me. She's like, I met races of all men. I was like, wow. She loved the way I did her makeup, by the way. She's like, but she don't like the long lashes like that. She used to make fun of my lashes, to be honest. She's like, oh, your lashes are so long. Oh my God. Like she was just like a simplicity beauty. That's what she was, just simplicity beauty. Absolutely gorgeous woman. Everything about this woman. She's literally a gift from God. I'm telling you. You know, exactly. Either get with the program or get lost. And this is what I like. This is why I said this is like a new dawn, new day. Because I'm just done talking about things that doesn't matter anymore. Things that doesn't serve any purpose, especially on my channel. It doesn't serve any purpose. The only thing that serves a purpose is women thinking about themselves and dating up. That's it. Yes, your standards needs to be that high. Doesn't matter how long it takes. There's no competition. You only compete with yourself. That's it. I'm my own competition. And I'm glad because it never felt in my life that I needed to compete with this woman because she attracted that. She manifested that life. And if she could do it, so can I. Anyways, ladies, dating a boss can really, really make your life easier. It really can. It's honestly the best thing a woman can do. You know, she's doing herself a great advantage in life when she dates a man that makes the rules. You know, not rules over her, but other people. He does the hiring and firing. That's the boss. I was like, wow. The fact that she came across this man, she knows it was meant. But she never thought, she never talks in that way. Like she said the man was nervous when they first spoke. He was so nervous speaking to her. And he said, like, you were just intimidatingly beautiful. That's what he said. He's like, I was so like, oh my God. But once the company was transferred and he was like the boss, she was like, damn, this is it. Well, she didn't say damn. She doesn't swear. This woman does not curse at all. Like at all, y'all. I never heard this woman curse. Ever. I don't even hear this woman complain. Like nothing. The amount of times I probably had a conversation with her and cried, and she'd just be like, it's okay, da da da. Like I was just like, oh my God. Now I'm just focusing on just feeling good all the time. Her husband is like the only friends he has is people he literally grew up with. Women are more likely, especially wealthy women, more likely to have friends with women. And mostly what they have friends with is an energy. That's what they literally are. It's the it's a is a positive energy that they're drawn to, that femininity that they know, like you have that divine power. They see that in you because they have it in themselves. Every time I talk with this woman, I always end up laughing, having the greatest conversation. She doesn't watch the news. She doesn't watch anything negative. She knows politics, but she's not like hardcore in it. It was like, psh. Anyways. Susan, yeah. Yeah. It's she's like, just be happy. Just be happy. Just be happy. I'll just say some of y'all even spoke to Susan, but y'all wouldn't even know who she is. You know? Yes, y'all don't forget to like. You know? But yeah. Thank you, Lau, for just, being part of my journey. Really. Like this has just been such a great journey. Y'all seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the tears. Y'all seen that. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being a part of that. I'm extremely thankful. I'm grateful. Humbly grateful. I love this journey that I'm on. I feel great every single day. I am so thankful to have to be around and surrounded with that type of energy, to be around, that in that proximity to wealth. It's a beautiful thing. And learning, like, I don't have to have any more excuses, no regrets, no judgment. Not judging myself because of my past thoughts, the actions, not judging myself for any mistake that I made. They were all experiences. And letting go of that is the ultimate freedom. Letting go of that. Knowing that everything that I want It's possible. People will wonder what your transformation is about. They will wonder, what is this? Do you know, they will know, they'll want to know that. And it's literally understanding that you're making peace with yourself. You stop finding fault in yourself. You look for reasons to feel good, and you make the best out of things. That you're the reason for feeling good. You're your own reason. That's what freedom is. And it's a beautiful thing, ladies. I'm telling you, when you acquire that understanding, when you learn to start making peace with yourself, stop looking for reasons to feel bad, stop looking for reasons to feel angry, stop looking for reasons to feel hatred, then you can actually grow. You can actually become the light that you are. You can actually have the life that you want. When you let go of what no longer serves you. Be who you're destined to be, and that's greatness. Just be great. Just be happy and understand that you deserve the life that you want. You are in control of that. Nobody else. Treat yourself like the prize, ladies, because that is what you are. You treat yourself like the prize, and those who cannot be a part of that energy will disappear. They will disappear. They don't know what that means. Loving yourself is the most important thing you can ever do for yourself, because you'll never be looking for it outside yourself ever again. So many times, oh, you never find love. What you talking about? I love me because I matter. I can't ever get tired of loving me. That's unconditional. That's priceless. Period. Shoot. Who's going to stop you from loving you? Nobody. That's the type of mindset you have to have out here, ladies. That I deserve it. I'm entitled to it. You don't want that average life or that mediocre life. It's not you. Struggle is not in your vocabulary. We're not even going to mention that word ever again, because that is not part of you. The solution is being happy and loving yourself. That's the solution to having a great life. If anything Susan taught me was to be selfish and to always date up. That's what she said, date up. If this person can get you to your goals, then by all means. If he can't, what are you doing? Ugh. Happiness is the ultimate success, ladies. Happiness. People can have all the money and wealth, but if they're not happy with themselves, it means nothing. You have all the material things, all the nicest cars, all the biggest houses. But if you're not happy with yourself, it means nothing. Please remember that. Anyways, ladies, thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you all. Stay happy. Stay in receiving mode. And as always, ladies, stay divine.